Today's practice? It went well, better than yesterday, which is typical. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, we had a few days off, so we got back. It was a little rusty, as we figured it would be, but today was better.
Did you notice that Flanagan had a red jersey on when you were going against him?
Do what?
Did you notice that Flanagan had a red jersey on?
I didn't.
Coach Stoops is going to address that tomorrow.
I didn't. I didn't pay attention to. I don't pay attention to the defensive guys mainly anyway. But you know how it is with injured guys. Don't try to get me.
Prefer color.
I got you.
So
I got a color for you.
Huh?
Huh?
As you sat down with Patrick this week, and you were talking last week, he has veto power over plays. Have you gotten to that point yet where you said, "I'm comfortable with these things, I'm maybe not as comfortable"?
Yeah, as we talk about the game plan, he's had some plays that he don't feel comfortable with, which is good. And every week's gonna be that way. And so, there's always gonna be something that we have in that based on the looks we think we're gonna get, he doesn't feel comfortable with. So that's not unusual.
Can you sense that something big is about to happen? Does it feel like a big thing is about to happen on Saturday with the stadium and all the excitement that's sort of around it?
I hope so. I'm curious to see our guys play just as much as anybody is. This is my first time to see them play in a game too. I think they're going to react well. There's going to be some goods and bads, and I think that's true in every game. But hopefully it'll be an exciting event.
Is this any different for you than, like, say, your first game at West Virginia when you came there? Because now you're with being coordinator and the new guys and so forth, or is it pretty much the same?
Maybe a little different, but I would say there's probably more similarities than differences. Everybody loves to play games, and so I just like opportunities.
How do you feel right now? Are you anxious, calm, nervous?
I'm calm and confident. I trust our guys. I think we're prepared. Our game plan's been in place. There's going to be some factors through the course of the beginning of the game that we got to figure out because we just don't know a lot about our opponent. There's just a lot of variables and factors that are unknown, and so we're going to be able to adjust and move on. So we have to, in any game, I think you have to be ready for good and bad. Nobody knows how you're going to start. There's times you go out there and start great and have a lull, and then you got to fight through that. And there's times you go out and you go 3 and out, and then you got to fight through that. So I don't know how the games are going to start. We just got to stay even keel and expect the best and fight through everything else.
You said the other day the one thing you know for sure is something bad's going to happen. Something bad
And it does every game.
In every
does
game.
it not?
Are you? How do you feel like that your guys will do overcoming that?
I think a lot of it has to do with how we react to it, to be honest with you. We have to do a good job of coaches of not allowing, but understanding, okay, bad thing happened. There's nothing you can do about it. Move on, I think the best deal is to have short-term memory. You got to move on from good and bad because I think that both equally can slow you down, and I think you've seen it. And so I just think you got to just get to the point where you don't pay attention to the scoreboard, you don't pay attention to anything else, you just go out and execute the play at a high level with an edge. And so hopefully we can get to that point. I don't know if we can. Typically in the first game, it's back and forth, so we'll see.
Who's the guy that's best on the field among the players of sort of when that bad thing happens, kind of getting everybody back up?
Yeah, I think Patrick does a good job of that, but I think overall, that's been the message from day one. It's just to keep playing. And so hopefully when the live bullets come, they'll remember the theme. And so we'll see. We haven't played a game yet, so.
Has some of that been the quarterbacks have talked about it, Patrick's talked about it, sort of how you react to them and try to stay at an even keel with them in practice when something goes wrong?
I don't always do that in practice. I try to do it in a game.
Has some of that, though, been over from spring to now through practice, trying to condition them that way?
Well, you want to try to get the practice as close to a game as far as mentality as you can get. Obviously that's hard because there's just a lot of factors you can't simulate. But that one is one that you can. But I will say that I think that practice is different than a game. I think that you should put as much stress on people with practice as you can. And you should make them feel uncomfortable. You should make them feel a lot of different things to see how they're going to react. So I do believe that practice is different from a game in that sense.
How do you decide in a game when to go up tempo, when to not? Do you just kind of get a feel for it? Do you have places that you try to do it?
No, it's just a guess. I can't be more scientific than that. If things aren't going good, typically we're going to change it. So there's 3 or 4 tempos that we use. And typically in my mind, if things are going good, I try to stay with what we're doing. if things are going bad, I try to slow it down or speed it up or do something just to kind of to change something, you know. And that's really as much thinking as it takes. I mean, if it's going bad, then we got to change something.
Marcus said it's been, you've done a nice job when the defense needs it to slow down and be able to get set and sort of establish and get some looks that way. You've done that. Do you look forward to, after 8 months of doing that, now when an opponent gets uncomfortable with your tempo, continuing to step on the gas instead of the other?
No, I am. I really am. I mean, I think even through the course of a real game, you got to be conscious of what's going on in all three phases of. And so, I mean, I think that's kind of where we evolved offensively, is to have a pulse on what's going on. You know, you can't go fast and go 3 and out 3 or 4 times in a row either.
What do you see when you put on their film and some guys have been jumping out at you?
You know, I mean, growing up around South Louisiana, I mean, I know the kind of team that Lafayette has. I mean, they're going to be athletic, they're going to be physical, they're going to have an edge to them, they're going to play hard, they're used to winning. And so, I mean, I know it's going to be a challenge, and I think our kids know it's going to be a challenge. And so they have a lot of guys that are new, a lot of coaches that are new. So there's a lot of factors, there's a lot of unknown factors. And so it's going to be a filling out process a little bit to begin to try to figure out schematically what they're going to hang their hat on and this and that. So,
what's your take on the theory that tempo causes more injuries? Some coaches,
tempo causes more injuries?
Trying to propagate that theory.
That would probably be defensive coaches. Well, I would guess, right?
Coaches in particular.
Yeah, the ones I've heard.
Okay.
What
do you think about it?
This is what I think about it. I mean, let's say you play 100 plays in a game. Everybody plays 100 plays in a game. It doesn't put any more people at risk than it puts offensive players at risk. And so everybody can get trained in an appropriate way to sustain 8 and 10 play drives if you practice and train that way. And so to me, it's all about how you train and how you prepare for those things. And so I don't think statistically it doesn't cause any more injuries. I guess the argument would be because you play more plays, I don't know.
I want to refrain from calling coach's name, but so I'll let you.
I didn't say anybody, Coach.
Okay.
With all the unknowns that you just talked about with Lafayette's defense, has the focus for your group been more internal in terms
Yes.
of trying to fine-tune and work on things? Regardless of what you see, you'll have a way to try and attack it?
No doubt. I mean, we're trying to just focus on things that we do good. You can only do a certain number of things defensively. So front-wise, we have a pretty good idea. I mean, they're going to do one or a couple different things. And so I would say the extreme positive in this program as far as going into the first game with so many unknown factors is our defense is so multiple. And so really, we went out there every day and we saw most every front and most every coverage and most every blitz. And through camp, I think that when we got through 20, how many practices did we have total?
About 30 or so.
Yeah, how many ever practice we had? I felt like after that we were prepared for whatever. And so there is going to be a certain adjustment through the course of the game because, they could come out and do something totally off the wall. But if we stick to things that we do good and our values, I feel comfortable executing against anything.
Studying the Auburn film, are there a few things that are givens that you think they'll do?
I couldn't answer that, to be honest with you. We think that there probably are, but to be honest with you, it's just a guess. And so it's like he said, we've tried to really focus on the things that we got good at through camp and that we want to do good, and that's going to be our mentality.
How important is it to get Drew a series in this game?
How we do what? I didn't hear.
Important to get Drew Barker a series in the game?
Depends on how the game's going, to be honest with you. That's something that me and Coach Stoops have talked about, and I would love to do and I want to do. And it really depends on how games are going, If it's a situation where, it's possession by possession, I can't tell you that that's going to happen, I would love to do it. I absolutely would. He's been playing great, and he deserves it, no doubt. And ultimately, we have to win the game.
Do you like his script an opening series or two?
Not an opening series or two. We've been in the past where we've tried to script like the first 15 plays or whatever. And it's funny how the years ago that number gets cut until recently it hadn't been any. So we'll try to, one thing that we do is Thursday night, I'll probably let everybody in the offensive staff room pick the best play that they think is good, and I'll just order them. And so, it's really,
Is there anything with Patrick that you're going to be looking for early on as an indicator of how he's doing?
Not really. I mean, I'm comfortable and confident that he's ready to play. You know, the kid's a talented kid. He's mentally smart when it comes to football, and so he's ready to play. He's excited to play. His mentality is good. He's healthy, and so I trust that he's going to play well.
Fans seem to like discussing who's going to be the leading receiver, who's going to have the most touchdowns. Do you have theories on that yourself? Do you have things that you think this guy's going to be our leading receiver, or this guy's going to have the most touchdowns?
Not really. I mean, and I'll be honest with you. I mean, and this is the same thing I told the staff. To me, people need to prove their worth. You know, so I mean, we're not sitting here with a guy that had 100 catches last year, and so to me, we have a bunch of players that are role players. You know, until somebody proves to be that guy, you know, like Kevin White. I mean, when you have 100 and something catches, yeah, you're the man, right? But I mean, you can look statistically. We don't have a guy coming off of last year that had 100 catches. And so until somebody proves to us that they can be that kind of elite player, then we're just we're gonna play football. We're not gonna sit there and try to make sure this guy gets 10 or 15 touches a game, because I mean, you know, prove your worth.